So fast.
Did you ever see the video that I done in Northern Territory? And
Is it online?
It's online.
How would Jamie find it?
Oh, I think I pinned it to my Instagram. And I sort of talk people through it, like after, obviously. I'm not talking when I'm walking up there. So I'm going up there and there's like all these like little water holes as it's drying up. And there's all these pigs laying on like 2 or 3 water holes that way and no pigs laying on a water hole this way. So I'm like, oh, that's a bit sus already. And then I just seen it, dude. I could just see its eyes above the water and the back of its tail. Oh, this is it.
So this is a small water hole.
Yeah.
Right there on the bank, you can see a big saltwater crocodile. You can see his snout and his eyes closest to the bank, and then you can see like the ridge of the front of his tail.
Oh God!
In the water. I actually watched him come from the centre of that billabong there, right to the edge, when he noticed the line that I was taking to the edge of the water.
Watch this thing sink away.
But yeah, you can see he's properly hunting me here. You'll see his eyes and snout just disappear under that dirty water.
Look how slow he drops away.
And he's doing that to try to get you. And you're walking close to this motherfucker.
Yeah, look at his tail prime. See the water?
Just lunge forward and have a crack at me.
So he's ready to go.
How far away are you from here?
Away from the coast.
10 meters, maybe.
Why? Oh my God, look at it. It's getting ready. Look at its tail.
I know they're called a saltwater crocodile, but they should be called an all-water crocodile because they live in all water. Yeah, and I just threw that stick at him.
Watch when this thing comes up.
I know you're there, and a little bit of a fuck you too. But
Jesus Christ, those things are terrifying.
Imagine that thing stalking you, and that's just a taste of the wild encounters we're exploring today. The Joe Rogan Experience is a goldmine for unbelievable animal stories, some terrifying, others utterly fascinating. We're diving into encounters that highlight the raw power, strange behaviors, and hidden dangers of the animal kingdom. Let's start with the moments that remind us where we stand in the food chain. Some encounters are straight out of a nightmare, like this story of a crocodile attack.
One of the most disturbing stories I ever read was these guys were kayaking in an African river, and the guy in front of them got grabbed by a crocodile, and that it went under, and it plunged like a bobber as the crocodile pulled him out of the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck.
That's awful.
Imagine being the guy behind him and watching that.
Absolutely chilling. Surviving something like that is almost unimaginable, yet some do, bearing the scars of the wild's brutality.
There's nothing we can do.
Wow.
So he was just going to bleed out or go septic, and that was the end of it.
Ooh, what a fucking rough way to go.
Right.
Ooh. How did he get away from the crocodile?
I don't know. I think he was just hitting it or hammering on it. He was crab fishing in the water, and it came up and grabbed him, rolled a few times, and at some point he escaped. How he even got back in the boat and made it back to the village, I have no idea, because his leg was shattered, his arm was shattered. It was brutal. And it was a canoe.
The sheer power of these animals is one thing, but their unpredictability adds another layer of terror. Hippos, for instance, aren't what many expect.
Man, one of the scariest pictures I ever saw was this African guy running down the street, and a hippo is chasing him. And you look at the size of the hippo, and you're like, good Christ, that thing is huge.
They are the scariest animals on Earth. Like, interacting with a hippopotamus, they're so erratic, they're so unpredictable. If they feel threatened at all, I mean, they're just...
This video is fucking bananas.
Oh, yeah.
This guy is on a motorboat, and the hippo is swimming after him like a torpedo.
So this is where I'm from. This is Zimbabwe.
Really?
Yeah.
So is this common that they swim that fast?
They can move. I mean, this is uncommon to have one chase the boat and come that close, but...
How fucking big it is, man.
Yeah.
So when you've had these close encounters, what do? You shoot at the air? You shoot at the ground?
And it's not just giant herbivores. The speed and ferocity of big cats can turn any situation deadly in an instant, as this shocking footage shows.
On railings.
What about those, I love watching those shows on National Geographic, like when they make the kill, then they drag it all the way up into the tree.
Oh, like leopards?
You know, like leopards dragging it, a moose up into the fucking... Like, you kidding me?
They're so scary.
That's a design.
They grab them with their teeth. Look at this leopard.
Yeah, this is the recent one.
Yeah. Oh my God. This was in India, right? It got loose and was just jacking people.
Look at that.
Oh my God. Just jumped up and bit that guy. Oh my God.
Can you jump in the water? Is that safe or no? Like, can they swim?
I don't think they swim. I think that
But
leopards
what
won't
if
jump
they
in the water.
do, man? Oh my God! Look at this thing biting him.
Oh man,
That guy got
someone threw him a fucking stick. You saw someone threw him a stick?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that's terrifying, man. That is fucking terrifying. That animal's so powerful too. That's a big cat. That thing looked like it was 150 pounds.
At least.
Oof. Just imagine a 150-pound house cat fucking you up. Yeah. Fuck all that, dude.
Terrifying stuff. Encounters like that highlight how quickly a predator can strike, especially in areas where human and wildlife habitats overlap. In some parts of the world, this threat is a constant reality, where predators like tigers actively hunt humans.
Territory idiot. Like
They
it's,
said that
it's their world.
There's an issue. There's an area in the India called the Sundarbans, and there's an issue with the water because the water is like got too much salt in it, so the animals are irritated all the time. And there's a lot of typhoons in that area, so a lot of people die and they get washed into the river, and the tigers develop a taste for human flesh. So it's one of the rare places where they're actively hunting people on a regular basis. In the last 200 years,
It's not that rare.
No, it's not rare at all.
I just got back from India less than 5-6 days ago. It's not the tiger attacks are normal.
Super common.
They're normal.
So their way of life, they're thinking about what life is so different than ours.
Yeah.
At any moment, they get snatched away by a monster. At any moment, you're walking from a lake or a river to your family in a hut, and you hear a twig snap, and you turn, and you see this 800-pound thing already in the air on its way to you. And you know that's a wrap, son. That's all, folks.
Life in the bush and life in the jungle, man.
You feel that fucking blade slice into your jugular, crush down on your vertebrae.
These stories are a stark reminder of nature's unforgiving side. But beyond the immediate danger, there's a whole world of complex animal behavior that's equally captivating, starting with the smallest among us. We often overlook the smaller creatures, but their worlds are incredibly complex and sometimes surprisingly organized. Take ants, for example. Their societies are astounding.
Be sad. He's got some weird Travel Channel show about he's traveling all over the world and seeing all these weird animals and
he's got a genuine passion for it. Wild Things with Dom. It's on Travel Channel.
Yeah, he loves insects, man. We had some deep conversations about ants.
Really?
Yeah, dude's seriously into ants. Well, I am too, in a way. You know, not like him. I don't know as much, but I've watched quite a few documentaries on it, and it's like when I watch them, I'm like, this is amazing. They just know how to go places. They're all like in the same row, and we're trying to figure out how they do it. It's by pheromones and shit. And then you see these super complex civilizations that they build underground, especially those leafcutter ants. Have you seen that shit? Dude, leafcutter ants are so sophisticated that they've engineered some sort of like ventilation system so they could bring leaves down into their crazy house and they'll ferment. These leaves will ferment in these like bowls that they've dug into the ground, and there's a pipe above it that's like an air pipe that they've tunneled up through the surface just to allow the gases to escape. No explanation whatsoever how they all know how to do this. No explanation how they ever figured it out. I mean, it's super complicated.
They've been programmed that way.
Yeah, I mean, something's going on, man. Have you ever seen when they pour cement into these things?
No. Oh, yes, I have.
Dude.
I have seen this.
Dude.
Wait, can you pull that up? I want to.
Yeah.
They pour cement in, and then they pull it out, and it looks like an art project.
That level of sophistication is mind-boggling. Yet, our interactions with them can be, well, pretty brutal, highlighting a strange disconnect in how we value life.
They pour cement in, and then they pull it out, and it looks like an art project.
Yeah, well, it's this giant labyrinth of tunnels, and there it is, yeah. Look at that. God damn.
Wow, that's so cool.
I mean, how are they all communicating together to figure this out? That's not one, is it? What is that? That's a wasp nest or something. What is that? Whoa. An ant queen? Go to the leafcutter ant. There's a video of it, I think. You find it, and they showed how they did it, how they poured the water in, or the concrete in, rather, which is kind of rude. Think about it. How many ants? That's an ant genocide. We're just saying, oh, amazing. # be curious. It's fucking.
Sadly, Dom's dialed into us because we're talking about ants.
See what they're doing here? Yeah. They're pouring it into this hole. I mean, this is like metal. That looks like they're pouring molten metal. Is that metal?
Yeah, it says it's aluminum, I'm pretty sure.
How rude.
I know, that's
Look at
killing
all these ants. These ants are like, what the fuck? Dude, what the fuck? My family's in there. My fucking kids. Dude, what the fuck? Look at the ants just like freaking out around the edge. So they pour this molten aluminum in and fill the whole thing. And then this serial killer asshole with a spatula, he's got a little spatula, is
Ant
digging
vibes
this
matter.
out. I actually, is that a gal or a dude? It's hard to tell. Might be a man bun. But whoever it is a gentleman or a woman is going to go in there and dig the whole thing out now. And it's a piece of art. Wow, that's actually a pretty dope piece of art. Finished casting, 21 inches wide, 14.5 inches high, and it weighs 3 pounds. Wow. Ant caster. Harvester ant casting brought to you by Ant. So it's antcaster.com. So it's a company that murders ants for you.
That's crazy.
Nobody gives a fuck if you kill ants. It is one of the weirdest things, dude. You could kill an ant on your pants and brush it to the ground in any respectable office, and nobody freaks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one says a word.
It's a weird double standard, isn't it? Moving from ants to bees, they also exhibit fascinating social dynamics, almost like they have their own negotiations.
There's an epidemic in the bees. When we were on Fear Factor, we had this bee stunt. We were up in...
I thought you were going to say you did it with autistic people.
Yeah, we took these autistic fuckers and lied to them. No, they had this stunt where they were covering people in bees. And so we were on this ranch, and they had these people, and they would stand there, like, leaning up against a pole, and this guy would come over with bees and just coat them with bees, like, scoop it on them, and they had to stand with the bees on them for a certain amount of time. I don't remember how. Maybe they had to, like, unlock locks or something stupid. But while this was going on, this local colony of bees showed up. So it was like a bee gang meeting. Like, they had to have a meeting, and we had to leave. Like, the guy who's the bee guy goes, okay, here's the situation. There is a local colony that just came to investigate why my colony's here. We have to let them work this out. And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And so we had to all leave the set. So we all left the set, and we went over, like, by these trailers that they had set up, and we kind of watched these bees just fly around each other.
Shut up.
Yeah, and they had to figure each other out. They had to figure out, like, what are you guys doing here? Oh, we're filming a show. Oh, when can we watch it? And then they had to talk. Like, they had to have a meeting. Like, we're not moving in. We don't live here. We live, like, down there in that thing. I mean, obviously, they didn't use English. But somehow or another, they communicated whatever they needed to. And, like, 20 minutes later or so, we were allowed to go back.
While some insects build complex societies, others pose a more direct, personal threat, especially when you're deep in their territory.
The great stuff. We did have, like, my main camera guy, his name's Mitch. He got absolutely lit up by these wasps one night, and we all were. We got like 12, 14 stings each. But I looked back in the canoe at one point, and his eyes are just super swollen. He's bright red. He's sweating. I'm like, Mitch, you okay? He's like, His throat started to close up. He was having an allergic reaction. So we had to hit him with antihistamines, and I'm not actually sure if the medic administered the EpiPen or not, but he was like, we're in the middle of the jungle. We're 6 hours from a village that's then a full day's travel by a charter plane from a hospital. I mean, middle of fucking nowhere. And his throat's closing up. And that's why we take a medic with us. Thankfully, we had this emergency medic. He administered the antihistamines, and Mitch was okay. But these things do happen.
A severe allergic reaction in the middle of nowhere is terrifying. It underscores how even small creatures can be incredibly dangerous. Beyond direct attacks, there are also concerns about how our modern world might be affecting insect populations in stranger ways. Some theories discussed on JRE are pretty out there.
Murders ants for you.
That's crazy.
Nobody gives a fuck if you kill ants. It is one of the weirdest things, dude. You could kill an ant on your pants and brush it to the ground in any respectable office, and nobody freaks out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one says a word. You kill a bee these days, people get pissed.
They get pissed. And they should.
Yeah.
We don't have very many bees, running out on bees. And we want to keep our cell phones. And we want to keep pesticide. So.
Wait, how do bees and cell phones and pesticides connect?
Well, I'm not a bee expert. I should just say that off the bat. But what I've read is that they're pretty sure that bees are affected by cell phone signals in some sort of a negative way, and it interferes with their ability to communicate with each other.
Shut up.
Or there's another possible thought is that they might be hearing the sound of the cell phone signal all the time, and it's just driving them nuts. It's just interfering.
Or
it's intruding in their life.
The cell phone the frequencies are making bees autistic, so they can't talk to each other. That's why autism is up also.
Big autism epidemic.
Okay, bee autism is definitely a comedian's take, but the underlying concern about environmental impacts on bee navigation and health is a real area of scientific study. From the tiny to the titanic, the animal kingdom is full of mysteries. Some creatures are so elusive they blur the line between reality and myth, sparking incredible quests to find them. The idea of a creature existing just beyond our certainty is captivating. Forrest Galante on JRE often dives into these stories, like the persistent hunt for the Tasmanian tiger.
Animals that have gone extinct at the hand of man. Given the range, I don't know if you know this, but the Tasmanian tiger at one point ranged from Papua New Guinea all the way down to Tasmania. So not just the island of Tasmania, but thousands, tens of thousands of miles. I think given the range, the frequency of sightings, the amount of untouched habitat in Australia and Tasmania and Papua New Guinea, where they just found a new dog species, by the way.
They did?
Yeah, the Highland dog in New Guinea, maybe a year ago now. Incredible looking animal. Like, absolutely. Could there be a very small remnant population of thylacine, Tasmanian tiger, hiding out in an isolated pocket of habitat? I totally think it's possible.
And these sightings, are they coming from credible sources?
So I did one expedition. I've done 2 expeditions looking for thylacine, and one of them I was literally talking to the man who is the head park ranger for like the entire North Queensland. So he's a scientist by trade, a biologist by degree, and he says I saw 4 of them.
Whoa.
You know, so this isn't like some crackpot drunk who's like, yeah, they're here. You know, this is a guy who is like myself, a scientist, a biologist, and spends his life in the bush.
While definitive proof remains elusive, credible eyewitness accounts from experts keep the hope alive for many of these cryptid species. Sometimes, even when there's footage, it's not enough to declare an extinct animal officially back, as was the case with the Zanzibar leopard.
They would release it to try to get more funding and...
Dude, the problem is footage isn't definitive anymore. Like, last year, I got a photo of a leopard in Zanzibar. The first time in 25 years, the animal was declared extinct, and we caught a video, not even a photo, a video of a Zanzibar leopard, and took it up the chain, and they're like, unless we have genetic proof, the animal remains extinct. So I think, you know, it's so hard to say.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. Come on, Will. So yeah, I think.
This highlights the rigorous standards of scientific proof. A compelling video is a start, but genetic evidence is often the gold standard. It's not just animals presumed extinct. What about creatures that sound like something from a legend, like a giant 6-foot chimp?
They didn't have photos of this thing until the 20th century, like the late 20th century.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a trip, man. They nest on the ground like gorillas.
Like a gorilla, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the locals have two different names for chimps. They call them tree beaters and lion killers.
Huh.
And the tree beaters are the ones that are up in the trees, the smaller chimps.
Sure.
And the lion killers are these big ones.
That live on the ground.
Yeah, and apparently there's some either video footage or there was some eyewitness account of one of them eating a leopard.
No way.
So it was a dead leopard that they were eating, whether or not they killed it or they found it, but they were eating this fucking thing.
Regardless, like, to be a primate at the top of the food chain eating a big cat, I mean, that's nuts. It's nuts.
Would you ever think of going there and trying to find those things?
Fuck yeah.
They're deep in there.
Great.
Yeah. I think they're in a place called Bili in the Congo. That's where they think they are. They've isolated a population of them there.
Really? My mom just got back from the Congo, and she still does like her own adventure stuff, and she was saying it's just like, she's been all over as well. She's like, it's mind-blowing. Like, there's so much remoteness and unstudied area that there could be all kinds of things.
God damn, man. Now, what kind of medication do you have to take if you're going to go there? Because you have to take some anti-malarial stuff, right?
Dude, I'm a pincushion. Like, I've had so many shots and pills and, you know, like, preventative, obviously. I actually don't do malaria medication. I just cover up because it messes with your brain. I don't know if you know that. Like, they say that the modern ones aren't bad, but the Malarone, like, you have hallucinations at night, you have crazy sweats, like, especially if you're in hot sun. So I would rather be more focused, especially if I'm working with reptiles or stuff like that can, envenomate me. So I try to stay away from it and just cover up.
Wow. Is there a specific type of clothing that's like anti-mosquito repellent clothing or anything like that?
I just do long sleeves and some bug spray.
And do you do a mask as well?
No.
No?
That's silliness.
Really?
It looks silly.
It does look silly.
No, I just do, good old DEET.
God, that stuff's got to be bad for you too, though, no?
It melts you. Like, if you get it on, like, say, these things, it will melt the paint off of the headphones. It's so strong.
Ooh.
It's probably worse than the Malveron.
Have you ever used a thermocell? What is it called? Is it called a thermocell? I think that's what it's called. It's a device that heats up. It's got like an element inside of it and like a little canister of gasoline, and you put these sheets, and it releases this very fine mist that you can smell, and mosquitoes fucking hate it.
No way.
Yeah, we used it in Alberta.
Huh.
Alberta has very aggressive mosquitoes when they're out.
Yep.
When they're out, they're out.
It's like clouds of them, right?
Yeah, because they're only alive for like 3 months. So like, it's gotta go! We gotta go! It's like Alaska. Have you ever been to Alaska?
It's the worst mosquitoes I've ever seen.
Crazy,
They can, like, pick you up.
Yeah, they're like, they're size of pigeons, and they're fucking everywhere.
Totally.
I went fishing with my friend Ari, and we pulled up the car, and we got out of the car, and we opened the car door, and within seconds, a swarm of mosquitoes was inside the car.
It's insane.
And we were screaming, like, what the fuck? This is crazy.
It is like something out of a Stephen King movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's clouds, and that's why you asked me what I'm scared of. It's that.
Yeah.
Fucking clouds of mosquitoes, man.
Well, we're very fortunate we don't have malaria here in the United States.
Yep, absolutely.
If it made its way over here somehow.
I wear this fabric you're talking about, thermocell, called Hex. You've heard HECS, Hex, exactly. Yeah. And I wear it for a lot of reasons, because I definitely feel it helps me get closer to wildlife, but I've noticed mosquitoes do not like it.
Really?
So that's one of my cover-ups.
Explain what a Hex suit is for people that don't know what we're talking about.
Sure. So it's this interwoven carbon grid that actually holds the body's electrical energy and capacity, like the door of a microwave oven, like a Faraday cage, right? Mm-hmm. And so you naturally emit electrical energy, and then when you wear this clothing, it's got this conductive carbon grid, and when you touch the ground or something, it grounds it and releases all the energy. So birds migrate using... Yeah, there you go.
Now, has it been proven that this stuff actually works? I mean, it has been proven that it has an effect on the electrical energy that you release, but has it been proven that the animals can actually recognize that electrical energy?
With certain animals, yes. So we know that electroreception is... Certain wildlife is capable of it. Birds use it to migrate. Sea turtles use magnetic poles to migrate. They just discovered, I believe, 2014, that lobsters' antennae have electrical detective sensors. Electroreception is the word. So it's proven on some things, not everything. Our understanding of animal behavior and animal adaptability is constantly growing. So it's passive. You know what I mean? I wear it because it's a passive technology. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm going to wear a shirt anyway. Why not wear one that might or might not help? So I feel it helps.
My friend John Dudley is a bow hunter.
Yep.
He's a pretty famous bow hunter.
I know John, yeah.
Okay, and he swears by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wears them constantly. He's like, it makes a big difference.
I think so. Like I'm not hunting. I'm just trying to get close to stuff and interact with it or find something, but I feel it makes a difference.
You notice a difference personally?
Especially with birds. I've noticed a huge difference. I've noticed a huge difference in the water. Some mammals, I've noticed a difference. But yeah, I like John, I feel like it helps me get closer, and it keeps the energy down. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're emitting all this energy, you see this bear or whatever it is, your heart spikes, your adrenaline goes, and it keeps that in capacity. So I think we sense that. I think certain creatures sense that, and I like to keep that out of the equation.
Right. I guess it would be that there is something coming off of your body, and it probably would be an advantage for animals to be able to recognize that. just because we can't quantify it,
right,
and put it on a scale or weigh it or something like that, there's probably something going on.
Predator prey, right? Like, if you're a lion and I'm an antelope, and my adrenaline spikes and my heart's going, and you're going to come for me, right? But if that's out of the equation, the energy stays reduced.
Well, that's one of the weirder videos. Some of the weirder videos that I've seen, I should say, is people that are interacting with predators, like people that have like coyotes come right up to them while they're wearing those things.
Yep.
And turkeys as well.
Totally. Like I said, birds, because birds have that in their brain. They have I'm going to quote it wrong, but they have something that they can detect electrical signals of what helps them migrate around the world. So for sure, I think it makes a difference.
Yeah, so what else do you use? You use the hex suit?
Ton of different tools, man. I mean, I customize stuff. You know, like in the Amazon, we were looking for Caiman, a type of crocodile, so I built like a beefed up dog catcher that I use to try and lasso them. I have a snake hook on me at all times.
A snake hook?
Yeah.
What's a snake hook?
So it's just this it's like a golf club with a hook on the end, so I can work with venomous snakes without it reaching back and grabbing me. It doesn't restrain them. It actually, like, their body sits in it. I do a lot of reptile stuff, so always have a snake hook on me. I mean, the list goes on. Ton of trail cameras. I use a lot of thermal imaging stuff, like especially like looking for wolves or something like that. Wolves are active at night. It's really hard to get a shot of them. Put a thermal bird in the air, and you can see these animals running through valleys.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. You'd love it.
Well, I'm fascinated by wolves. I think that wolves, to me, are probably the most interesting animal in the wild.
Canids, man. Wild dogs of all kind are unbelievable. They're so at the top of their respective food chain.
Yeah, we have a lot of coyotes around here, and basically they're little wolves. The little sneaky wolves. But real wolves, like wolves in Yellowstone and wolves in the northwest area of the United States, they have got to be some of the most majestic animals.
Oh, they're fantastic.
They operate together. Always as these packs. So there's some sort of weird kind of communication
and what's amazing is like the social dynamic, like within the pack, the hierarchy, and then on a hunt, like you go left, I go right, but without any verbal communication.
Right.
And then coming together and making a kill. I mean, it's mind-blowing stuff. You talk about not understanding wildlife. We don't understand how they do that.
Right. We don't understand what kind of communication's going on. Do you think there's some sort of like telepathic, or is it just facial and recognizing cues and patterns that they've established before? If they see an animal, they know to flank it.
I definitely believe it's that. Like, I definitely believe there is an intrinsic understanding of you go left, I go right. Facial recognition. Your expression tells me to do something. You're dominant. I'm passive. Learning that way. But I also think there's something more than that. Whether it's telepathic, whether it's a low-frequency sound that is not audible to us, I have no idea. But I do think it's more than just visual cues.
That's where apparently the myth of the werewolf comes from, is that wolves are so smart, they think that a wolf and a person were, like, combined together.
I don't believe that per se, but I can see how that came up. You know what I mean? It's totally, they're so smart. African wild dogs are the same. Like, they hunt in these huge packs. They go over these massive areas, and then they'll push a single animal into one area to make the kill. And they're not big animals. They're, again, like a coyote size. And they'll take down, a kudu or some huge antelope. I mean, it's incredible.
Well, African wild dogs are so cool looking, too, with those black spots and the yellow and all the...
Stunning.
They look angry. They're like freaky looking,
I think they're my favorite of the like, you love wolves, I love African wild dogs. I just think they're so beautiful and majestic and unusual, and they're just such a cool animal.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all of them come from the United States. I think all of them originally came from North America. Like, I think
Canids?
All canids came from North America. I think that's Coyote America, the gentleman who's been on the podcast before. What is his name? Is escaping me right now. But he wrote about it. About, all the various, with it, jackals.
Dan Flores.
That's it. That is a fascinating book.
Yeah, I'm going to write it down. I'd love to read it.
Great. And I did a podcast with him years ago that's excellent, too. And he has all sorts of crazy insight as to Native American, North American animals that went somewhere else, like horses. Like, horses were native to North America, but they weren't here when the European settlers came. They went extinct. They had been taken. They were other places. Like, apparently, wild horses from Europe all originated from North America
and were taken over and then brought back.
Somehow or another, from whatever, and then went extinct here, and then were reintroduced with the European settlers.
That's interesting.
Crazy, yeah.
And that's the thing, like, with what I do looking for extinct animals or proof that they're still out there, is like, there are so many stories like that. I didn't know that one in specific. America's very well covered with eyeballs, but what's to say there isn't some remnant small population somewhere in the middle of nowhere that nobody has found these horses that have been untouched by human beings for millennia.
Right.
And that's what I do. That's what drives me, right? Find this pocket, find this animal that's been hiding out undetected for thousands of years.
Yeah. So what other animals are you looking for?
A lot. Like we were talking about primates. I'm going to Borneo to look for an animal called the Miller's grizzled langur. It's a type of monkey. I just got back. I was looking for an extinct caiman in the Amazon.
An extinct caiman?
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and the caimans that you see?
Just a different species, just like there's many types of crocodile, there's many types of caiman. You have saltwater crocodiles, Nile crocodiles, same thing with caiman. And I was looking for one with a very weird morphological variant. It looks very, very different to any other.
What's different about it?
It's got a very elongated snout. If you've ever seen a gharial, if you know what that is, a type of crocodile with this long, crazy nose, it's like the alligator family, the caiman family version of that. This really long, skinny face, super light, super yellow coloration, just very different. Last time one was seen was 52 years ago, and then they had one in a zoo that died in the 80s, and nobody's found one since. So just really cool. And so, yeah, the list goes on. Last year I did leopards, and I did wolves in Newfoundland, and a bunch of really interesting stuff. So it's fun, man. You'd love it. You should come with. I'll talk to Animal Planet.
Scared. I'm such a pussy. What about giant sloths? What are your feelings on those?
So I've had probably 3 years of research into giant sloths, because Manapuguri, I believe is how it's said. It's the South American name for giant sloths. I don't want to give away too much info before I get to do a chance at looking for it, but after all the research I've compiled, there is, in my opinion, one location on Earth. It's in high Peru, where nobody goes. It's a bowl of mountains, impenetrable. The only way in is a helicopter in the center. To me, that that bowl is going to be like a primordial Eden. All of the cultures surrounding it have old stories of giant sloths. They all have different names for it, but they all have these stories of these giant sloths, right? They were all hunted to extinction. However, they've handed down these traditions. But nobody, except for, a tiny handful of, far out tribal people, have ever really got into this impenetrable bowl. And I think if they're anywhere, they're in there.
Wow. I saw a documentary once about this scientist that was essentially risking his reputation trying to find a giant sloth somewhere, maybe in the Amazon, somewhere.
Probably Peruvian Amazon. That's where I'm thinking, too.
And he kept talking to people that had seen it, and he never could get a hold of it, but he had been there for years.
Isn't that crazy, though? Why?
Yeah.
What if you're a little Amazonian villager, you don't read, you don't have TV, there's no reason to make up science fiction, why say you've seen it?
Because you like to fuck with white people?
Could be.
Get that dude with his stringy hair. Hey, man. Yeah, I seen that thing. Yeah. Oh, dinosaurs? Fuck yeah. Come on, I'll take you. 5 days
point.
in, you're exhausted, covered with mosquito bites. He's like, any day now.
Yeah,
we're almost there.
Just over the next hill.
He's just going to wait for you to fucking rot out. That would be a mean man.
That's a mean guy. Leave
you on a log. All right, buddy. Pat you on the back. This is the last spot for you.
And I'll be taking this. Yeah.
I'll take your binoculars.
Right.
There's no reason for them to lie, but that's like the thing that people say about everything. Why would someone lie? Well, I don't know. People lie for a bunch of weird reasons.
People do it.
People are crazy. They make shit up.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's like you have to take an eyewitness report of an extinct creature or a zoo crypto creature with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But you still have to take it. Do you know what I mean? You still have to bank it and consider it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the way I go. I always talk to people, but then I do the biology, right? I track, I put the cameras out, I bait, I scent, I do all of that stuff to try and get evidence of my own, because just going with eyewitness reports is, like you say, it's nothing.
Has there ever been any eyewitness reports that are just too ridiculous, where you're like...
Oh, for sure.
Like what?
The Bondo ape, or Billy ape, is a fascinating case where local knowledge pointed towards a scientifically recognized, unusually large chimpanzee population with unique behaviors. And sometimes, these mythical creatures step right out of folklore into scientific reality, like the Asian unicorn.
Unicorn, because for generations people have been talking about this Asian unicorn, and Western world's like, yeah, whatever. And then finally somebody went down there into the Laotian mountains and was like, here's a skull and here's a skin. And they're like, holy shit, this is a real thing. Whoa. And this is like in a not populated, but there's plenty of people living there. You know what I mean? This isn't like the middle of nowhere. This is where there's villages and tribes and people, And they're like, here's this animal, here's a skin, here's a skull. And since then, I think one trail camera photo has ever surfaced. Like, nobody's ever successfully documented it because it's...
The Solar's discovery in 1992 was a major event, proving that large, unknown mammals can still be found, even in areas with human presence. This drive to uncover the unknown speaks to our innate curiosity. But what about the intelligence and emotional lives of animals we do know? Some stories suggest connections that are truly profound. We're often surprised by the depth of animal intelligence and emotion. Dolphins, in particular, have shown behaviors that challenge our understanding of interspecies connection.
Talk to. And for you, I mean, I knew that you had directed The Cove, and that the subject of dolphins has been, I mean, it was a huge bit on my 2016 Netflix special about an experience that I had when I was in Hawaii, high as fuck on edibles, and we ran into this patch of wild dolphins, and they were playing with us. They were playing with us, and we were yelling like, yay! And they would jump out of the water and do flips for you. They were putting on a show. And I remember having this thought, like, holy shit, they're playing with us. These are these wild creatures, and they're having fun with us. And then I started doing all this research on dolphins and dolphin communication. I became obsessed with dolphins because this one, I mean, I had been fascinated by them before, but I became truly obsessed. And this experience was more than 10 years ago.
Playful interaction is one thing, but what about protection? Some accounts suggest dolphins go even further.
You can't. You look like you're like in a wheelchair.
Not even.
Yeah, right.
Someone in a wheelchair can get around pretty good.
Yeah. But, you know, in the water, we just look like,
yes.
You know, we're just pitiful.
Yeah.
And so they can only be entertained so long. But the scooters, we figured we could engage them a lot longer. And then all of a sudden this group just took off. And there's sort of, you're let down because you're high from the experience of being with them in the wild. And they took off. Then we saw that there was about an 18-foot long hammerhead. And they were taking turns ramming it away from us.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was like not only were they playing with us, they were protecting us.
Wow, that must have been wild, though, seeing an 18-foot long hammerhead. Holy shit.
Yeah, because they disappeared into the blue, and then we could see them ramming this thing. The dolphins were big. I mean, they're, you know, not quite as long as this table, but they're probably 300 to 500 pounds, and they're maybe 7 feet long, and they look tiny next to this shark.
Wow, that's wild. That is wild. Yeah, occasionally you see they'll do drone footage off of the coast of Malibu, and you see like a great white swimming around there.
Dolphins aren't the only marine mammals with incredible intelligence and complex social lives. Killer whales are another prime example, though their interactions with humans are different.
Putting his logs. No one find Bigfoot shit? You can find bear shit. You won't find bear bodies. But if you tell me you don't find bear shit, it's because you're in a place that doesn't have any bear, right? Where's the Bigfoot shit? He's burying it, man. That's his big trick. He doesn't save surfers. He doesn't, kill whales. You've ever seen, like a killer whale demonstrate to its young how to kill a seal? They show them how to kill it. They get them up on ice shelves. They tip the ice shelves and have them slide down.
How do you know Bigfoot's not taking his young out?
I don't know that he's not, but we don't have any footage. No. We have no evidence.
Not yet.
But we have all this evidence of these amazing killer whales that, not only that, they're smart as shit and they know we killed them. They know we killed them and they still talk to us. They know we killed them. They have to know by now. If they really communicate and they can express, I mean, they might not totally get it, or their concept of life and death might be really weird, like way different than ours is. I mean, it's real possible. But they're so nice to us. Like, killer whales don't kill people. They're not attacking surfers. They're not fighting back because they found out that they got this thing. No, the ones that are in SeaWorld fight back.
No.
But the other ones out in the wild, they don't go attack people.
Yeah, there's been some rogue stories for sure.
A bunch of pussies who got bumped. They got chest bumped by a big fucking killer whale. Nobody got eaten. Nobody came back with no legs. It's not what they do, you know? And that's an amazing real-life animal. And if we found out that Bigfoot was real, and we go, oh, wow, it's like a big orangutan, but it walks on two legs, that ain't shit compared to a killer whale. It's not shit. It's not shit.
This apparent niceness from such powerful predators is fascinating. It raises questions about empathy and where it exists beyond humans, especially when compared to other animals.
Claw and fang animals trying to get by.
So we know that's nature, right?
Right.
Does that give you any sort of like a compassion or empathy to the ultra woke that are trying to overcare? It's like
I don't think that's what they're doing.
Maybe deep down that's not what they're doing, right?
Right.
But intellectually they think that they're exercising it in that way.
They think they're doing the right thing.
They're not doing the right thing, but
Right,
they think,
but they
they,
think
are.
they are,
And I
yeah.
wonder if on some level you look at how gnarly nature is and you see like what humans are kind of capable of doing.
Right.
You don't see that empathy in the animal world, I don't think.
No, there's no empathy. The animal world has zero empathy, except dolphins. Dolphins have empathy towards people. They'll save people from sharks and shit like that.
Won't they also like feed other animals? Isn't there like a... Maybe they were working with... I forget some video I saw. They were like culling fish into this area so that the fishermen could extract them.
Really?
Yeah, I saw some video of this. I don't know where the fuck it was.
Were
But
they cooperating with the fishermen?
I don't
That
know if it was
doesn't
cooperating
seem
with
to
the
make sense.
fishermen. I don't know. Maybe they were doing it for themselves and the fishermen would kind of take advantage of it.
That seems more likely.
But yeah, I don't know. It's like an interesting thing that we're capable of, like to consider others discomfort, and like want to help. I
Yeah.
think it gets bastardized. And I think it gets abused.
Yes.
But the fact that we can even get there,
Yeah, it separates us from everything else,
Right?
except for the dolphins. They look out for other species. That's what's interesting about.
But even these intelligent creatures have a darker, more pragmatic side driven by survival instincts. The discussion around dolphin behavior isn't always heartwarming.
Thing about them, like they look out for humans. They also rape humans. They do that,
right?
But usually when they do that, it's like at a marine world type situation.
But also, do they know what that is?
No, they don't know
So
what that
they
is.
don't. They're like, oh yeah, we're just fucking, and this is how fucking works.
Yeah, they do infanticide, right? Dolphins kill their babies. Like this is the way it works. Like if a female dolphin gets pregnant, she cannot mate for, I believe it's, look this up. I think it's like 6 years. I think the female
the
dolphin.
gestation period?
Yes, she has to take care. It's not the gestation period, but it's the period where the baby dolphin is vulnerable, because dolphins are similar in a slight way to human beings, in that it takes a long time for the animal to mature because their brains are so large and they're so intelligent. You know, it's not like a chimp. Like a chimp, within like 2 years,
Send them out there.
well, they're strong right away.
It's a complex picture. Intelligence and survival often go hand in hand, sometimes in brutal ways. This brings us to the raw, uncaring aspect of the wild. Ultimately, many of these stories highlight a fundamental truth about the natural world.
The variables, and one of the more fascinating variables is nature and wildlife, because they're so uncaring about you. Like one of the things that I always get when I'm in the mountains is like, these mountains don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a shit how many Instagram followers you have or how well your special did or, you know, how well your podcast is doing. They don't give a fuck. These are just tooth and claw and fang.
From terrifying encounters to mind-bending intelligence,